So we're going to take a call. We're going to jump straight in. We're going to take a call, and we have got Mike, he, him, from Canada, who is an atheist and wants to talk about prophecy he learned when he was a Christian, because it seems that it's coming true now. Mike, what have you got for us?
In all likelihood, it's a great coincidence, but it does leave you a little freaked out. Do you want me to get into the details of it?
Yeah, and you're crackling just a little bit on your phone, so make sure you're keeping it still, or you're in a place with a good connection, and that'd be great. But yeah, please jump right in.
All right, this is a little better, by the way.
That was actually worse. So whatever you just did, don't do that. But it's a work in progress.
All right.
How
about this?
If you're on speaker, you shouldn't be on speaker. But we can still hear you.
I'm on my computer. That's the problem. But in any event, I'll jump to it. It's the whole Daniel thing of the dreaming of Babylon, the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, and how Medo-Persia conquered Babylon, and then Greece conquered Medo-Persia, and then Rome conquered Greece, and then Rome got destroyed into 10 different sections, just like the 10 toes. And then we were always taught, like I was learning back in 1990, about how one day there's going to be a Christian revolution, and starting with America, and it's going to push Christianity, but a perverted form of Christianity, onto the people. And when you see things like the Supreme Court having this, pushing all this stuff on it, it feels like it's actually coming true. Freaky.
I mean,
and I was only in 1990.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, right, there are, 7 billion people, 8 billion people now on Earth. Most of them are having dreams every night, right? Statistically speaking, somebody's going to have a dream that's going to match up with reality at some point, right? Like, just because the odds are people dream sometimes about similar themes, similar worries, anxieties, and also just like the things that they're seeing in real life. So I mean, it just doesn't surprise me that somebody having a dream at some point is matching up with what we're seeing today. I don't think it indicates anything supernatural though, right? I mean, like I had a dream that, let's see, what was I dreaming last night? I think I was hanging out. I was like a Christian again last night in my dream. And that was weird. Yeah,
I don't mean to interject, but we're talking about Nebuchadnezzar's dream written in the Bible. Not just somebody had a dream,
But Nebuchadnezzar's dream, though, and just to go back on that, Mike, Nebuchadnezzar's dream, I think you can specifically tie into, first of all, it's probably one of those prophecies that's written in retrospect, right? In other words, is written after the events have already taken place. And there's very clear, mostly clear historical allegories that are being taken place. They talk about the tiered system between like the bronze nations and these other nations, like they're talking about very specific nations and themes that were existing in ancient Babylon, in ancient Middle East, essentially, right? I don't think they had any indication of what was going on today. And if there's any coincidence there, it's exactly that. I think it's just a coincidence,
Mike, can I just jump in really quickly and ask you if it's specifically Nebuchadnezzar's dream you're talking about? Because you seem to kind of say Nebuchadnezzar's dream to start with, and then you said about prophecies that had been made in the 1990s.
Yeah.
So which one is it that we're dealing with? Are we dealing with the 1990s claim or the Nebuchadnezzar claim?
Well, no. What I didn't fill you in on is that I used to be a very, very hardcore Christian. For university, I entered the ministry to be a pastor. And that was around 1990, and that was the reason why I brought that up.
Right. Okay.
The dream is like you got to understand in most of these Protestant Christian eschatologies, the dream of Daniel along with Revelation coincide.
But yes, I know, and I think they're wrong. I do. I think they're wrong. I think that they're not related. I think they're talking about different things.
And there's also the problem that Daniel, or parts of Daniel at least, the parts of Daniel detailing the prophecy are thought to be later than the prophecy that was made anyway. So that's a real problem. At best, it's kind of written at the time these events were unfolding. So Daniel's a difficult one because the parts that are earlier and parts that were later, but the parts that deal with the prophecy are thought to be the later parts.
Yeah.
So, that's, it's quite unremarkable.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah. This is kind of, if you just kind of go up and do a quick, I don't kind of advocate going and doing your research on Google, but a quick Google search will at least present some information about this to you, and then you can go and do further, more academic reading after that. There's very good scholarly books on this as well. There's a book by Josh Bowen, The Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, and I think it's in part 2 that deals with Daniel's prophecies, if I remember rightly. And there's some really, really good books out there that kind of go into this stuff and kind of detail that. So it's quite unremarkable that somebody writing at the time that events were unfolding got the events correct. It's no different to somebody reporting today on news events today and getting the kind of facts of those events right. And you wouldn't call that prophecy in any way.
Yeah. You said me on Josh Bowen. I love that guy. I've been meaning to read that. You're talking about his books on the Old Testament.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to look at him. There's other scholars that would.
For so long now.
Yeah,
there are lots of good Old Testament scholars out there, and they don't have to be atheists, the Christian ones as well, because the consensus of scholars, we must separate scholars from apologists.
Yeah.
The consensus of scholars who work in the field professionally have the same kind of conclusions. There are a few that don't, but, and there are ongoing arguments about certain features, but certainly Daniel's, the kind of aging of Daniel's text is kind of consensus opinion amongst both Christian and atheist scholars.
Yeah, and there's a lot of argument that even says that Nebuchadnezzar, as portrayed in the book of Daniel, isn't even actually referring to Nebuchadnezzar, that's just a later attribution. Because if you look at, for example, like the book of Jeremiah, which also talks about Nebuchadnezzar, there's like very different characterizations of what's going on there. So like there's a lot of debate of even who they're talking about in these books. But yeah,
I think ultimately what I needed was a swift kick in the ass. I've been an atheist for at least 15 years now, and I cannot see myself ever believing again. But this whole thing was just a little disturbing. I think I said, okay, maybe coincidence, maybe bullshit. And no, what you guys are saying is probably true, but I think what's a really, really good idea is to read a book like Josh Bowen's on the Old Testament and get familiarized with everything the way it really is, rather than the way it was bestowed upon you in ministry.
Honestly, I will always suggest you read books, but like even on, the Wikipedia articles on a lot of these will tell you like what current scholarship says on the dating and, a brief summary of what the people of the time would have interpreted a lot of these to be. And if you do that for like most books of the Bible, you'll realize, oh, this is different from what I'm taught in church, right? I definitely had a difference there. Like there's a lot of people that say, oh, the book of Daniel is actually, it's prophesying Jesus and stuff. And there's still apologists that make that argument. But there's lots of arguments that don't line up with that. So yeah, scholarship is good. They don't really talk about scholarship in church, funnily enough. I wonder why. But yeah, something to think about. So there you go, Mike. Do you have anything else you need from us?
We've lost Mike.
We lost him.
We've lost him. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but I appreciate the call, Mike, and absolutely. Yeah. If you're unsure about something, give us a call and ask us, and get those opinions, because we want conversations and we want good, honest conversations, and we're not going to kind of throw you a line to present an opinion. We'll just talk about what we think is true.